How you guys doing? And thanks for tuning in. This is George over here at Wicked Warnings, your number one source for construction and emergency safety and strobe lighting equipment, truck accessories, car accessories, vans, buses, bicycles, tricycles, everything in between. What you're looking at right now, brand new 2021 GMC Sierra 2500 heavy duty. Now this is just kind of a base model Sierra with the tail lights you can see that are incandescent, which is a little rare. Most of the time the Sierras are all LED. This one's incandescent. We wanted a simple solution. The reason I had this truck around backwards is because basically everything we did for this particular client was around the back of the truck. What we're looking at right now is our 16-inch Whelen mini bar. Now that's mounted on top of our drill-free mount, and it's mounted in between that spoiler-style third brake light fin, I guess you'd call it a spoiler applique, and the cab of the truck. That's a drill-free installation. I went and I did a full install video on exactly how to do that and how to actually mount the product to the vehicle. I think I might be one of the first people on YouTube to have done that. So I also show you how to use that drill-free mount without drilling a hole in the top of your spoiler. So a lot of times it looks like you're gonna have to drill a hole in the spoiler to get the wire out to the actual mount. And I found a way to get the wire through with absolutely no drill. Moral of the story, you could take the mount and the light bar off, put the spoiler back, no damage, nothing. So that's a good solution if you ask me. Here's a nice good shot of the back of the truck. You can see that big, beautiful combination toolbox fuel tank that we installed, as well as a Fill-Rite 15 gallon per minute pump. Now that tank is a 45 gallon UWS combo. It is black. It's nice. This particular client didn't need 90 gallons of fuel. They're honestly a little bit concerned that they would never fill it all the way up. And even if they did, that it might go stale by the time they used it all. So 45 gallons fit the bill just perfect. You can fill it up and flush it right through the truck if you had to get rid of it. And you're not sitting on 90 gallons of fuel, which is what, close to 795 pounds or something like that. So you don't necessarily need to carry all that if you don't need that much fuel. I like the size of this box too. Short of the filler and the pump, it sits underneath the rails and it doesn't take up much room forward in the bed either. It's a nice tighter package than the usual giant L fuel tanks. Here's a little shot down into the bed. I know it's all black and it's hard to kind of make out, but that's what I mean as far as the size here. It's a smaller tank, so it leaves you a good portion of your bed, and I do like how that works. You can see how we ran our wiring. Well, you can't quite see it, but we did run our wiring clean around the back, and I upgraded them. I got them the nice actual nozzle here that you can click on just like a gas station, and it will automatically shut off. So that way they can fill their stuff up and it automatically shuts off. There's a lot of different nozzles. You can kind of pick whatever one you like. If you want a swivel here, if you want a regular nozzle, if you want the automatic nozzle, you got a lot to choose from. Same thing on the variety of the pumps. This one is a 15 GPM, which I'm sure is more than enough to run the regular gasoline that they're going to run. This is not a diesel tank. That's a gasoline pump. So as their use is going to be gasoline. Now, as far as that mount goes, let me spin you around here and show you a little bit of that. I could zoom in just a little bit for you. As you can see how that mount goes right there on the roof. You're able to mount a mini bar. We really like our 16-inch Whelen. It fits beautiful. You could probably fit the 23, but I fear that it would hang over the sides just a little. So I think the 16 is really where it needs to stay. And as I said, click the end of the video. There's going to be a full video on how to install all of this, how to take this off, how to do all of that. I got more info for you. Here's a top-down view on that mount. I'm up in the bed of the truck now, trying to get you a little closer view of it. There you go. As far as how it looks. You can see also this truck got a little bit of radio action there right in front of it. It is a township truck. As far as switching, real simple. Switch on the dash, 3/4. We ignition fed the transfer tank. So if the keys are forward, the transfer tank works. If the keys are backwards, the transfer tank does not work. So real simple on that because it's a fleet vehicle. And as far as the switch, like I say, super easy, simple. We just went right here on the dash. That's normally where our factory auxiliary switches would mount. But because this truck did not have them, the owner just said, put a 3/4 rocker in there, market strobes. So that's what we did. We fused everything on the side of the dashboard here. We did a little bit of custom stuff around the back of this truck as well. Let me show you that. Alrighty, what we're looking at down here is that there's a trailer that goes behind this truck, and it has some strobe lighting on it already from previous truck before this upgraded truck showed up. And they asked if we could do a switched plug here at the end and put a weather pack on it. I went ahead and I created a little plug. It's just a blank plug. These wires go nowhere. They're just taped there, and that way they can keep this plugged up and weather tight when they're not using it. And when they are using it, they pop this open, take off that yellow Velcro. They're able to plug that right into the trailer. And I left them a little bit of length, and I wrapped it up nice with Tessa tape, so hopefully it'll survive kind of getting plugged in and out with the trailer. But the goal there is to kind of keep it with the trailer wiring. And also, just for a tech tip on that, to keep the trailer from ever screwing up the truck, what we did is we actually fused the main line to the switch with a 10 amp fuse. And then I came off the switch with two legs, one to this back and one to the bar. And I put a 5 amp fuse on each. So that way, if something were to go wrong on the trailer, it would hopefully blow the 5 amp fuse without taking out the bar. And it would not disable the switch or the light bar on the truck, because trailers get a little funky and sometimes the wiring can be bad. And I didn't want them to be in a position where they hooked up the trailer, it popped the fuse, they have no warning whatsoever. That sucks, right? So we wanted to make sure that under all circumstances, this bar would stay lit, even if the trailer had a problem and blew its fuse. So that's it. There's a little tech info for you on how we wired that. Pretty easy. Just three fuses was all that was needed. And of course, they could upgrade the main to a 20 and possibly the trailer to a 10 or 15 if they really needed. But I'm hoping that there isn't that many LEDs. A properly wired trailer full of LEDs should only be drawing 3 to 6 at most. So we'll have to look at that if it's going to have a higher draw than that. So thanks again for watching Wicked Warnings, your number one source for construction and emergency safety strobe lighting equipment for cars, vans, buses, bicycles, tricycles, everything in between, and nice, beautiful GMC Sierras like this 2021 you're looking at right here. Make sure you check the link in the description for the drill-free mount that we used and the light bar and the 3/4 switch. And as far as the wiring for that, it's very simple, very easy to wire with some 18.3 or some 18.2, your choice. And as far as the fuel transfer tank and the fill right pump, that's all special order items. You need to email in. We don't typically do those for shipping. They're typically installed here in-house because of the weight and the size. But if you're having problems finding that locally and you need us to help you out, email in and we'll do our best to get you squared away. Email is info@wickedwarnings.com. Thanks again for watching. We'll see you later.